Ms. Dodd, on your online, online.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Natchitoches Parish School Board meeting. If everyone would please silence your cell phones. And Mr. Frady, would you mind opening us in prayer? And then Ms. Dot, would you mind doing the pledge? And guys, after the pledge, we're going to keep standing because we do want to have a moment of silence for some very important members who have passed. Thank you.
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to meet here tonight. We ask that you guide all discussions we have, all decisions that are made, dear Lord. We ask that we do that in the betterment for our children and all of our stakeholders in the parish, dear Lord. And we ask that you keep us safe on our journey home when we depart. In your name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, board members, thank you for continuing to stand. We're going to have a moment of silence for Miss Eva Harris for 30 years of service as a para and a bus driver, and Miss Elizabeth Matwire, who was a teacher for 25 years, and Pastor Leo Walker, who was a band director for 36 years. Thank you, board members. You may be seated.
That was 100 years of impact, just three people.
It was. It was. Thank you, board members. Mr. Kozad, could we please have a roll call?
Mr. Danzy,
Here.
Mr. Matwire,
Here.
Mr. Benefield,
Here.
Reverend Harris,
Present.
Miss McGaskey,
here.
Miss Palmer, Miss Phelps,
Here.
Miss Harvey,
Here.
Mr. Frady,
Here.
Mr. Nicholson, Miss Page.
Here.
Thank you very much. So moving right into our agenda for the evening, the superintendent's report was taken care of last week. There are no changes there. And our consent agenda, do we have an offer?
I'll offer.
I'll second.
We have an offer by Mr. Harris, a second by Ms. Page. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item number 4, we had our informational reports last week. There's no action to be taken here, but are there any comments or questions in regards to the reports?
We got Miss Sarah.
Rachel.
Oh, hi, Ms. Rashiel.
I'm scheduled to give my report on the second board meeting.
Thank you.
The federal program's monthly report, program highlights for the month of May for Title I after-school tutoring ended. I have the schools listed that participated in after-school tutoring for school year 24-25. We had over 300 students that were enrolled. We also conducted our summer school teacher orientation for our Title I schools. All of this was funded through our Title I program. Title II activities and initiatives for the month of May. Teachers attended the Writing Revolution. Those schools that had participants were East, Fairview, Godana, Lakeview, Marthaville, NSUE, NSUM, and Provençal. As far as the early childhood program, enrollment for school year 25-26 is doing very well. As I've stated several times, acceptance letters were mailed out on June 2nd, so families received their acceptance letters notifying them of the school that their child will attend for pre-K 4. Currently, Marthaville is at 18. Magnet is full to capacity at 40 for pre-K 4. Provençal is at 30, and they are full based on staffing capacity that's associated with the funding that is available for salaries. This will give them a full class of 20 and a partial class of 10. Fairview is full at this time. We are still taking applications for all schools, and we have developed wait lists. And we're also in the process of finding suitable early child care for those individuals that we are unable to place. LP Vaughn is at 90 this year. They are also full. They will have 4 classes of 20 and 1 class of 10 for the upcoming school year. Any questions on that section?
For Fairview, you said full, is that 20?
Full, they're at 20, yes, sir. And we're still actively seeking students for that area.
What other suitable childcare do you provide when the regular early childhood classes are full? You said suitable?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what does that consist of?
Thank you for your question. Those are our child care centers, our type 3 child care centers that are currently in academic approval. They have a pre-K-4 program. And those, I can name them for you: Bright Beginnings, Cobblestones, A to Z, Tiny Tots, Phase, Just Us. They are all part of the Natchitoches Parish Early Childhood Network. And so we do try to work with them when we have students who are on a wait list, just to make sure that our families have that early start.
Does that involve the scholarship program?
Unfortunately, it does not, and that's been the challenge for pre-K-4. We do not have a scholarship program for pre-K-4. It's only infants and ages 1, 2, and 3-year-olds.
If you would have, can you add a class if you, say a waiting list, if you got 15, 20 kids on the waiting list, say at LP Vaughn, even at Fairview, can you add another class?
Ideally, that would be great. Our challenge comes into play with the funding for a teacher and a para. And so a huge part of our funding is funneled through LA4, and it's based on the students who are eligible for the LA4 funding. And so they have to be, I believe it's 200% below the poverty line. So once we meet that number and we do the math and we look at the salary packages, we are only able to fund classes based on what we have in the budget to pay for staffing, if that makes sense.
I would imagine most of them that apply are below or at poverty level, considering average income in this town.
Yes, ma'am.
Masses.
You are correct. LA4 is a little different. We do have some students, and I could bring those numbers. I can give y'all those numbers, actually. I could tell you. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I have the exact number of the students who have been approved that were eligible for LA4, which is different from Title I. And so those students who are not eligible for LA4, we classify those students under our Title I funding set aside. And so it's just a numbers game at this point. We have reached our ability to staff with the current eligible families.
So there's no other resources for like another classroom to pay the teacher and the para?
Not out of federal funds.
So all the money has to come out of federal funds to pay the pre-K teachers?
That is how it's been set up.
And LA4 is federal funding.
Federal funds are Title I.
And
We have a Title I preschool. It's an allowability for us as a district to set aside funds for preschool. We have to keep in mind, pre-K-4 is not mandatory. And then we have our LA4 program that we participate in Natchitoches Parish. And so those are the two pockets of money that we're able to pull from.
So when you say that's how it's been set up, is there a possibility of another way of funding it?
Not that I'm aware of. I can tell you other districts follow this same model. We use our Title I and we use our LA4, because what we don't want to do is pull from K-12 funding. But I want to say this: we only have a small number of students who are on less than 5 on a wait list at this time. Less than 5 students.
And that could always change at the beginning of the school year, too. Sometimes parents move.
Yes,
You know,
it happens.
situations change for kids.
It happens every year.
Okay.
So we're holding strong. I did give you a budget snapshot. We're working really hard to expend all funding that's managed through our department. Title I, we're projected to spend 85%, and it's allowable to carry over 15% of those Title I funds. We may spend a little more. This is tricky because a lot of our salaries are in our federal program administrator salaries are in this bucket, and we have to wait until we get all of those July, August payments sent through. So we did some strong estimates with the support of the finance department. Title II is at 72%. 100% of what is not spent is rollover for next year. Title V, 84% is projected, which is going to be a little higher because I was able to process an invoice today. Redesign, 99%. We're very excited about that because those are our CIR, UIR schools funds for their curriculum and additional resources that help them to remove those labels. And then our literacy funds, CLSD funds, which we were not awarded for next year, but we were able to expend 86%, 99%, and projected 86% for those.
So as those labels are removed, we get less funding as well.
We do. Those competitive grants are no longer appropriate for our situation, which is a good thing, right?
So now, what are you hearing under the new administration about any foreseen cuts in federal funds?
I have not heard anything official. I shared a couple of board meetings ago that we were low in what we've received in the past, but it was less than like 5%. Early childhood was cut quite a bit, but we are working through those challenges. We're just sitting and waiting with that. Compliance and reporting, we have a Title II desk review that we are preparing for in Title II, for our Title II and federal programs. Staff and support updates. Ms. Conde will be joining our team. We're very excited to have her on board as the coordinator of homeless services and federal programs. And this will be effective July 1st, but she's already hit the ground running. We both attended some training a week and a half ago. I do want to start giving some impact on student outcomes. That was part of the training that her and I attended about a week and a half ago, but I did not have that data at the time of submitting this report. Picard LA4, which is what I just spoke of for early childhood, we were reimbursed $607,104 as of March 2025. And then looking ahead, summer learning has started. It is funded through Title I, which is very much appropriate. Title I, II, and redesign grant budgets are due this month. We are working with the Teaching and Learning Department, the Business Department, to ensure that we have all of our priorities as outlined in our strategic plans ready to submit on time. And then, of course, we are just deeply in our federal budget cycle for 2025.
What
That is all I have.
is Conde going to, you said she's going to be the supervisor, coordinator, director. What is the title? She's going to be over all the federal programs, like you mentioned?
No, ma'am.
Which particular ones?
She is the coordinator of homeless services, and she supports she's coordinator of homeless services and federal programs coordinator. Specifically, she's going to support our non-public. You've heard me speak on our non-public school that we have in our district, and it requires a lot of time and effort to maintain compliance of their portion of Title I, their portion of Title II. and the documentation that's associated with that.
So that being St. Mary's.
Yes, sir.
Right.
For now.
Is NSU Lab fall under that umbrella? It's just St. Mary's.
That is just St. Mary's, so only non-public school.
For clarification purposes, what does the Title II and IV consist of? I'm familiar with one, and I don't know if everybody else is familiar with Title II and IV.
Oh, absolutely. Title II is our professional development, recruitment, retention, grant that it helps support us in maintaining high quality teaching and learning in the classroom. So professional development, like I stated, our retention, our resident teachers fall under that umbrella.
And Title V?
Title V is, and that's still going to be managed under my direction. Title V is REAP, and we support our technology infrastructure with Title V, as well as, I'm sure you've heard of the Edgenuity platform for our high schools.
So Title V pays for that program?
It can, yes, it can.
So which program pays for Cane River Children's Service?
A portion of Title I can be set aside. However, our district does not, our district is not eligible for, it's called neglected and delinquent services under Title I. We do not get a formal allocation for Cane River Children's Services because of the low number of students that participate in that program.
But y'all do provide for them out of Title I.
Yes, we do. We're not required. We are not required to do so
But y'all just help.
when we can, when the funding is available.
That's surprising. I would think it would be a priority. But if you don't know that there are children that, based on the numbers that participate, that would be eligible,
We are aware of the number of students that are in that program. I have monthly conversations with the team at Cane River Children's Services, and they submit via email a list of students in their home-based schools that they're participating in Natchitoches Parish. So those are things that's part of our monthly review.
Okay, any other questions for Ms. Rachel? Thank you for your report.
My pleasure. Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Likewise.
Okay, any other questions about the informational reports?
Oh, Ms. Phelps, I have one. I had one for Mr. Ryan, but he's not here. Mr. Wascom, maybe you can help me out here. So it's about our mowing and the contract and the process. So with the mowing, I know we just renewed that contract and increased it. Is that a lump sum we pay per month, or do we pay
We pay it, we pay 1/12 of it per month.
per month? Okay.
And it's
And they're required so many cuts a month and things like that.
every 10 days for a certain length of time, and then when it slows down, depends on how fast or how much rain is going on, yes.
Okay. So they're not, but do you know, this may be a Ryan question, are we tracking if they're actually cutting and mowing?
You're talking about Fairview Alpha, right?
Yep.
Heard about it.
'Cause it was cut on May 14th or 15th and wasn't touched again until this past Friday, and it wasn't even cut all the way this past Friday. It's still,
Ryan notified me about this, and he's having a discussion
so
about that.
if they didn't uphold their end of the contract, how does that work? Is my question.
Well, it can be reviewed when we review their contract. we just need to keep them accountable to the contracted days.
So,
I mean, that's ultimately how to work it out, have a discussion to work it out.
and I know Dr.
Mr. Payne,
Earl
Ms.
and-
Payne has been very good to work with in many ways.
I know Dr. Earl and Ryan aren't here to be a part of this conversation, but there's got to be a way for us to start tracking this or something, because the contract states that it should be cut 4 times in May. There's no way it was cut 4 times in May. It's not even cut all the way today. I went through it a while ago. I pass it every day going to work.
Yeah.
From work, so.
Ryan is aware and he is on that. I can tell you that. He did mention it today to me that he was having to spend time working with Mr. Payne on getting that done.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Can we, if they are supposed to mow it so many times a month and they don't mow it, do we have to pay them for can't we deduct that from them?
Interesting.
Huh?
Yes, interesting discussion. If we had a drought though, for instance, you didn't need to mow it so many times.
Well, it needed to be mowed.
Oh, I know. It's been raining. It's just raining all this week.
The
so
lump
yes.
sum is over $20,000 a month.
Yes.
Is what the lump sum is.
Yeah,
And
for all
we
locations.
went to this contract, correct me if I'm wrong, we went to this to save money on maintenance of our own mowers and things like that.
It's definitely saving money. Yes.
Well, we just threw away some
Be
money.
saving,
this
that's
past
what
year.
I'm saying. We didn't get, we're not getting the cuts.
Let's
They be scared to mow, and they may be short of workers.
That's
that-
still regardless of
It's,
the
yeah,
contract.
they gotta hold
Yes,
up their end of the contract.
you still need to
I'm giving,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
you
still
still need to be
hold
held
on to the
accountable to the
contract.
contract.
Yeah.
I knew this, I did speak to Ryan, I think the board should be aware of it, that's why I brought it up. And
Thank you so
I
much.
wanted to know about the payment of the lump sum, I didn't know how that worked, if they just said,
Yeah.
hey, we mowed this month and you paid them for that.
And then once we finally roll off like Goldana and some of these others, then what do we adjust it at that time as well?
Right. Yeah, I think it needs to be looked at some and some kind of way to track it. There's got to be a way to track it because they're not holding their end up of the deal up. They haven't lately. So.
Okay. All right.
So-
I'll definitely start
Mr.
working on it
Wascom, do they submit an invoice once a month, or you just automatically pay them?
once a month.
So on that invoice, is it a detailed, do they submit each location that they went to?
Yeah, but it isn't like said it doesn't say 3 mowings at this, 2 mowings at this one. It doesn't say that. It just says all these, it's just a listing of our school and properties and what's been mowed. It's just a generic reproduced
Right.
invoice.
We need to have a checkoff on that one, though.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Ryan and Eloy just
Oh,
over here. So
Okay. Ryan was aware that he did share it with me, and he's in discussions about that. We can't let that happen. We don't want that. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wascom.
Thank you, sir.
Item 5, Finance Facility Service Insurance, Ms. Palmer.
5A, discuss and consider changes to the National Parish School Board 25-26 salary schedule that will take effect July 1st, 2025.
Okay. Do we have an offer?
I'll offer.
Second.
We have an offer by Mr. Fredo, a second by Ms. McGaskey. All those any questions or?
Did we take it one by one?
Yeah.
I got, how much
Yeah.
are this gonna cost the board, these, do you have, I don't know if you got it, if you do, that's fine, what it's gonna cost us?
Okay, did you want to go page by page here, the first one? Well, first of all, the $10 an hour going from 9 to 10, I'll be honest with you.
I don't have no
You can-
problem, I don't have
Okay,
no
on
problem
that.
with that one. you
Okay,
know,
so what
'cause I
page
know
would-
with that, but with the, let's see, with the coordinator, how many,
The coordinator was a situation that came up with Sarah Rachel. She actually had a 10-month employee that was over here. We went ahead and made an adjustment. We'd never codified it in here. This will not cost us any additional extra funds. We have a 10-month coordinator. Is that the one you're talking about, the yellow? It says coordinator. We normally have a coordinator in the field, and that's under the school administration coordinators. Those are your 9 and 10-month people that are at the schools. But in this particular situation, Sarah maintained a 10-month here at the media center, and we had never addressed that issue. We have we temporarily set the percentage at 15%, but that person is paid for out of Title I funds. I believe it's Title I, is it? Yes, it's preschool. Yes, preschool. It's Title I there. It was just not something that we had ever considered.
So the person in that position never was a coordinator, so there was never a coordinator in that
I
position?
don't know, I mean,
The person that was in that position was a supervisor, and we did away with that. During that time, we did away with those titles of supervisors. For example, I was a supervisor during that time for math, and they changed the names to teaching and learning specialists. So to be in alignment with the other titles, we had discussion that this person, based on her job duties and responsibilities, would be a coordinator for early childhood instead of a supervisor, because she did not supervise them.
you can
She
see up here,
supports.
supervisor up here is 30%, you can see that 2 lines up. So, and because she's not supervising anybody, a person, she's coordinating things and issues and, then it's not as, so it's not a 30% multiplier, it's a 15% multiplier.
We just did a RIF, and now we're asking for an increase in certain positions.
No, no, ma'am, this is actually an existing position that's already been paid for this year, and it was inside the Title I
It's out of
budget.
Title I.
So we removed the supervisor that and was replaced with this coordinator. So technically, it actually became cheaper for us, but we're just putting this in the salary schedule so we know how to address this. Because she called me up one day, how are we going to pay this person? Because she's not a year-long coordinator; she's just a 10-month coordinator.
So,
This is not a new position.
So it was listed incorrectly.
What's that?
It was listed incorrectly.
Correct. It wasn't addressed in the salary schedule.
So this is a
Address
clarification.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
but to me, it would be a new position. Well,
If you removed a supervisor and replaced it with this position, it would be
You basically changed her title.
correct.
But the income didn't change. That's what you're saying?
No, yes, ma'am, the income,
Earnings didn't change,
the
just.
person who occupied that position no longer occupied the position. When this lady was hired, she was brought in with a 15% multiplier.
so the position is paying more than it was paying?
No, no, sir, it actually paying less. It went from a 30% multiplier to a 15% multiplier.
Yeah, I see that. I'm
It was a part of a complete reorganization of the organizational structure, which a year ago, May, we passed a whole bunch of new job descriptions, and it was a way of becoming more efficient. And it was realized that she was not actually coordinating personnel, she's just coordinating students and things in the program.
So they were they holding the title of supervisor at that particular time?
I'm not familiar. All I know is we had a 10-month person. She did not know how to pay for it. The position in the reorganization of personnel that has been asked to become more efficient, we no longer needed the position of supervisor. So as things got moved around, we created a position as a coordinator.
So it's not a new position, and it's not costing us any more money,
Actually
potentially
costing-
less money.
It's actually less.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, other questions?
Yes. On this one about having the bachelor's degree in accounting,
Yes.
I think it was about a year ago, Mr. Wasco, and I came to you concerning that. I think Mr. Fredu may have come maybe some months ago and addressed that same matter. And we're just now addressing it, right? But I know it was,
I was asked to address this situation. I would not have normally have done this. I was asked to address this situation because it was a wish of the board to address this.
yeah, truly it was.
It is, when I originally when I originally placed all these positions where they were, I put them in the column that they were based on the provision of them already having an accounting degree. But then it was requested that if they had an accounting degree, to give them a column jump. Now, I am a big believer in the fact we should move a column if you have a CPA. CPA gives us the fact that we get better bond rating, and there's just more assurance that we're in compliance when we have CPAs come on site and actually audit us. It's very helpful to have our current CPA on site, and it's definitely worth the extra money of moving her a column adjustment. I was asked by Dr. Eloy as a wish of the board that we give everybody who had an accounting degree a column advancement.
And I think it was a fair thing to do.
Okay.
So this is rectifying that situation.
This was, yes, this was, so basically you can have an associate degree or less in accounting and be in the column that's listed. But if you have a 4-year degree, you get a 1 column advancement. And then if you have a CPA, you get an additional column advancement.
Do you have an estimate of what that's costing
It
the
costs
board?
about, well, we have 2 people that are being impacted about an extra $6,000 a year,
Okay, so 12,000.
an extra $12,000, yes, for this.
But truly, those people probably should have been paid at the time that it was addressed, which would make that be retroactive to pay them.
Unless you consider the fact that I put them in the column that they were in under consideration that they had the accounting degree as a part of the job description. I'm going to now remove the job description, a required accounting degree, and just make it as optional. Because if they come in and interview and they have an accounting degree, they will automatically get an additional jump. And if they have a CPA, they get an additional jump after that. So, I mean, it actually makes it more flexible during the hiring process for us.
But to, again, people retiring and things like that, it does mess with their bottom line too, if I'm correct.
Oh, it makes it better, yeah.
Does it?
Wait, doesn't, what do you mean? If they're retiring, it doesn't do what now?
That person retires, or those people retire, that does affect their bottom line as far as what they got paid and things like that.
It's the average of your best 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it would increase their pay by $6,000 a year, about $500 a month, yeah.
And this is specifically people that are degreed?
Yes, ma'am, 4-year degreed.
Bachelor.
It says bachelor's degree, so it's not for an associate, it's a bachelor's degree.
Accounting position, those 2 positions you mentioned.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can we vote on this?
Okay, board members, any other questions about the 4 attachments to the motion?
Can we vote on each page separate?
So the motion is to approve the changes, and I'm assuming they were submitted all as one, or they intended to be voted on all as one?
The motion is written as one action item on those 4 examples that were submitted. It's still one document. Those 4 different pages were just excerpts to demonstrate to the board.
Right.
So can we vote on each page?
That's at the pleasure of the board. I would need to make
Pleasure of the
4
board.
additional motions.
I would like to make the motion, we vote on each page.
You want to amend the motion?
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to vote on individual pages. And we already have a motion on the floor by Mr. Fredo and Ms. McGaskey.
Take the amendment first.
So we need to make the amendment first. And I would like a roll call vote, please.
We're voting to amend the one
Yeah.
that was previously voted on.
Yes, amend the motion
That was,
that was previously,
And take each,
If it fails, we vote on one.
right.
But this will give board members an opportunity to vote, instead of voting on, if they don't agree with the entire document, it will give board members a chance to vote individually.
On each item.
On each item. If they don't agree with every. Right?
That's correct. So a yes vote is,
I don't understand what we're disagreeing about. I'm confused. I'm missing something.
Not actually disagreeing about anything. You just wanted to vote each one of those items individually as opposed to collectively together. That's all.
All right, I have it written down as motion to amend motion number 1 to take the 4 pages as 4 separate items.
Yes.
That was motion by,
Motion by Metoyer, second by Harris. And a roll call vote, please,
Mr.
to
Danzy,
amend it to 4.
yes.
Mr. Metoyer,
Yes.
Mr. Benefield,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Reverend Harris, Ms. McGaskey,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Phelps,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Frady,
Yes.
Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion pass.
Should we go in numerical order? I mean, page number order?
You're going to have to give me just a minute. I got to write 4 new motions into the system.
You gotta get this. I think that would be Lee, I think that'd probably be the appropriate, easiest way to keep up with it.
Page 7 is the first change.
And each one of them needs to be offered. So I'll offer.
Second?
For page 7.
Were you ready for that, Mr. Cozad?
I was trying to get all 4 motions in here
Yeah,
so
so
we can just
we'll
knock out
wait
those
just a
votes.
moment,
What
please.
was the page of the second?
Well, we got page 7.
Page 12,
Page 12.
page 13, and then page 15.
Right.
Page 7, page 12, page 13, and
15.
15. Okay. All right, so the first one would be page 7. I'm ready.
And who's offering, okay.
I'll offer.
So we have an offer from Mr. Harris for page
You said.
7 and Ms. Palmer a second. And I would like a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Danzy,
Yes.
Mr. Metoyer,
Yes.
Mr. Benefield,
Yes.
Reverend Harris,
Yes.
Ms. McGaskey,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Phelps,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Frady,
Yes.
Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. Next item on the table would be page 12. Do we have an offer?
I'll offer.
Second.
We have an offer from Ms. Page, a second by Mr. Danzy. And Mr. Cozad, when you're ready, if we could have a roll call vote.
Mr. Danzy,
Yes.
Mr. Metoyer,
No.
Mr. Benefield,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. McGaskey,
No.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Phelps,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Frady,
Yes.
Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, now we move to page 13. Do we have an offer?
I'll offer.
We have an offer by Ms. Page, a second by Mr. Danzy. And Mr. Cozad, when you're ready, we'd like a roll call vote.
Mr. Danzy,
Yes.
Mr. Metoyer,
Yes.
Mr. Benefield,
Yes.
Reverend Harris,
Yes.
Ms. McGaskey,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Phelps,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Frady,
Yes.
Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, moving on to page 15, the final page of this
All offer.
motion.
I second.
Okay.
All right, we have a surprise motion by Ms. Page, a second by Mr. Harris, and if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Danzy,
Yes.
Mr. Matoir,
Yes.
Mr. Benefield,
Yes.
Mr. Harris, or Reverend
Yeah.
Harris,
Yes.
Ms. McGaskey,
Yes?
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Phelps,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Fredo,
Yes.
Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Ms. Palmer, if you want to go ahead.
Okay, 5B, discuss approving 2025 youth, I can see it better, on my phone, volunteer school district grant. Jay Ingram.
I'll offer.
Second.
Okay. We have an offer by Mr. Fredo, a second by Mr. Matoir. This is the information that was presented to us last week. Do we have any questions or discussion? Okay,
You're going to have to give me just a second. The last series of motions are causing an issue with this.
sure. Let us know when you're ready.
Okay. I'm ready.
Ready? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Who was the motion and the
That would have
second?
been Mr. Fredo made the motion and Mr. Matoir seconded.
Okay, 5C, consider approving 2025-26 Healthy Behavior School District Partnership Grant. Ms. Ingram.
I offer.
Second?
Okay, we have an offer by Mr. Matoir, a second by Ms. McGaskey. And again, this information was presented last week. Do we have any questions or discussion?
Vote.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Last one, 5D, discuss and consider approval of Effective Schools Grant, the Rapides Foundation, Ms. McClinton.
I'll offer.
Second.
Okay, we have an offer and a second by Mr. Danzy. Are there any questions about this grant?
I see it's new on the agenda, what it is.
Yes, this is a new item on the agenda. Let's see,
$142,000 from the Rapides Foundation
beginning July 1st and ending on June the 30th.
for effective schools.
And some of the items that it covers is stipends for new teacher training in math, science, and social studies, online numeracy training course of 50 hours, external coaching support for middle school and high school math, administrative support of 20% of the grant allocations will be used to pay salary of Ms. Catherine McClinton. Okay, we have an offer and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposition? Motion carries.
That concludes finance.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. Item number 7, executive report, Mr. Russ Danzy.
Item 7A, discuss and consider changes to the school start and end times. Mr. Benville.
I'd like to offer a motion to consider changes to our school start and end times along to coordinate with our bus schedule for the, not this upcoming year, but the year prior, the year after, year 26, 27, with the first report due in October of this year. First cut, we keep it in front of us.
Second.
We're just discussing.
Right, so we had it listed as discussion item.
Discussion, okay.
Yeah, but
And
then
listen, but I wanted to
Put it-
take it to a voting
I
item.
put it on the motion.
What I thought.
That gives us a timeline.
Okay,
So we're voting to have, basically, right now, we're just voting to have that report done.
That's correct.
Correct. you
And
said
move,
October?
and moving forward. Our first report will be due in October. The superintendent said that's perfect. that's a great time to start implementing these. The staff can have all this pulled together, and we can also start looking at the new bus contract. So,
If we don't, we'll be here this time 10 years from now.
that's what exactly that, and we've been talking about it. Let's do something
That's
about
right.
it. EBR did it.
From now?
Somewhere around God's throne.
EBR did it last week. I mean, there's lots of school systems saving money. This is all part of the consolidations of the schools, doing the things with RIF, and this is an opportunity for us to streamline our process and get these school children to school at a proper time, as opposed to picking them up so early in the morning.
Can I
Okay.
get the motion read to me to enter it onto the agenda?
Go ahead, Mr. Benefield.
Sure. Consider changes to the school start and end times to be coordinated with the busing schedule for the school year 26-27.
Okay, and we had an offer in a second. Did you get that part, Mr. Kozad?
No, it was listed on the agenda as a discussion item, so I have to go out of the agenda and edit the item to make it an action item, and then come back in. It's going to take me a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do that again when you're ready.
So, Mr. Frey, do you think Reverend Harris will be around in 10 years?
I think you can get off for a little while and be right back in that seat.
No, the devil is a lie. I ain't coming back.
With his partner right beside.
Good.
Was there a part of the motion that
I'm
mentioned
good
something about
just
a
the way
report?
I am.
Do what, Mr. Kozad?
Was there a part of the motion that mentioned something about a report?
Yes, sir. First report is due at the October board meetings. Report of schedule.
I was in attendance in DeSoto Parish of a good friend of mine who helped mentor me, L.J. Mayweather. I think he spent 40 years on the board.
Okay, just before I click save, consider changes to the school start and end times to be coordinated with the busing schedule to begin for the 26-27 school year, with the first report on the status of the schedule to be due at the October 2025 board meeting.
Correct.
Nailed it. He's good.
Yeah,
Sign him up.
Yeah.
detail, military.
I'm ready for a motion.
Okay. So we have our motion on the table.
Roll call.
If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Who was the second?
The second was Mr. Danzy.
Mr. Danzy.
Yes.
Mr. Metoyer.
Yes.
Mr. Benefield.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Ms. McGaskey.
Yes.
Ms. Palmer.
Yes.
Ms. Phelps.
Yes.
Ms. Harvey.
Yes.
Mr. Frady.
Yes.
Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Item 7B, discuss and consider updating student fight policy.
So this item, this is a no action item, but we did form the Safe Schools Committee consisting of Barbie Page, Ms. Harvey, Ms. McGaskey, Mr. Fredo, and Mr. Nicholson. And there will be more information to come once the committee meets.
Correct.
Okay.
So that completes executive reports.
Before we end the meeting, are we going to be having a bus committee meeting soon?
We will, but Superintendent Eloy is pretty much out for June, and that pushes us into July.
Okay. I was asking because I spoke with a person that's affiliated or associated with bus drivers, and I received a lot of information. I'm really concerned, and I will definitely pass it on to the bus committee when we meet.
Thank you, Ms. McGaskey.
Before we
Mr.
adjourn,
Benefield wanted to address the board too.
before we adjourn, I would like to publicly thank Ms. Page, Ms. Linda Page, for her years of service as the HR director
Yes.
of the Natchitoches Parish School Board. I know you've seen a lot of changes, and not just the paint and the wallpaper, but we've done a lot of good things, a lot of good work, and so thankful that you were part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Page. And that was from one HR director to another, so that carries a lot of weight there. Pastor Harris did ask if we had a date for the retreat, and we don't have one yet, but that will be forthcoming soon. Getting together and get some dates for that, to see when everybody can be available. And we will not do it without Mr. Matwire, so that will not happen. But,
Get us a place, please.
okay. Is there a second? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.